I'm Scott Allen Miller. It is Saturday, the 6th of November, 2021. This is cold, rainy, not what I was expecting, Miami, Florida. Here on our, I think, 6th day of this trip and 3rd day right now. And sorry for the wind. It's the best I could do as it is, just to get away from the noise of the hotel. I came over here to this park. I don't know. It's just, there's this hotel thing and our hotel over here that we've been staying in at the Clarion. Anyway, it is now Saturday morning. I'm doing these little updates because there's just so much going on, and we have been trapped here for days. We have no way to get out of the country. Dominica has spent maybe 14 hours, no kidding, on the phone with Avianca at this point. We got up at, well, she got up, I slept in a little bit more. She got up at 8 a.m. this morning and got on the phone and has been on the phone with Avianca for the last 2 hours. She just got off the phone, and all we want to know is what our status is. Avianca has sent us no flight information. She has called over and over and over again, said none of the flight information is coming to us. Why isn't it coming? They have no idea. So this is just going on and on, that they can't answer things about their own systems. Nothing's working. Finally today, we got a little bit of information. Avianca was able to confirm finally 6 hours after the deadline that they did in fact receive our information and they did in fact send it on to Nicaragua. Nicaragua's not responded, but they don't normally respond until tonight. So that's a good sign. Avianca has no idea why we're not receiving the emails that give us all the next steps to do. So Dominica is only able to do any of these things because she knows the process. Avianca is not sending information or prompting the next thing, or you know, you're just be in the dark. If you were a normal person flying, you would have no idea of any of these steps. There's nothing to tell you. Now, of course, you're responsible for knowing the Nicaragua requirements, and we know those, but nothing tells you the Avianca requirements. Nothing. They just hope for the best. And if you don't receive their email, too bad. You'll never find out. That's their only system. This is a complete disaster, really, that's going on. So at this point, Avianca cannot tell us if we're able to fly, but they can tell us we've made it into the system. It only took 14 hours on the phone to do that, right? And a mastery of travel information and really knowing Nicaragua and all these destinations. This is absolutely crazy. Okay, so things that we have learned, though. We have learned that one of Avianca's sites says that you are not to send your information to Nicaragua, that they will send it on, which tells us that they're the ones who screwed up on the last flight. It was not a mistake on our side at all. We could have potentially double-checked that by sending it ourselves and just, you know, verifying that they had it, but we're not supposed to have to do that. Avianca's supposed to do that. So we know from their emails now, or their website now, that they screwed that up on the last flight. We also learned that Avianca says we have to look at this wind, that we have to submit all of our paperwork to Avianca at least 36 hours before the flight. But Avianca has since changed that, and some of their information says that you cannot submit it until after 36 hours before the flight. So sometimes they say more than, and sometimes they say less than for the same information being submitted. So their official process has no acceptable window, right? You're always conflicting with one or the other. So of course we're sending it on both, right? So they have it a long time ahead and a little bit ahead, and they can never say we didn't do what they said. But we're also violating the don't send it before this time, which of course makes no sense. And the wind just stopped. And, yeah, every single thing we're finding from Avianca says, you know, you must send it. No, don't send it, we'll send it. Send it this early. No, don't send it before this late, right? And so whether that's intentional or they just, because obviously they don't speak English, everything's translated into English incorrectly, or what's going on, we don't know. But that is the status with Avianca. Every bit of documentation is wrong, and no one in the call center has access to any information to find out what you're supposed to do, what you have done, what their systems are doing. They can't even see their own list of anything. They are completely in the dark and can't give out any information. Not just for the Nicaragua status. Of course, they don't know Nicaragua's deal. They can't answer the airline information for your flight. Nothing. So it's a really, really big problem that there's just nothing we can do about, right? And so Dominica is just calling and calling and calling. And at the end of today's call, the answer is, by the way, I'm going to turn around and just show, this is a beautiful little walkway through a park that we have here. There's just a random sidewalk in front of our hotel. I just came down the sidewalk, and the sidewalk itself dives into this little, I guess it's a golf course. So doing everything we can. At this point, it feels like we're just waiting for Nicaragua to approve things and everything will be fine without Avianca's paperwork coming through, but we're just hoping for the best. If that doesn't work, at this point, we are not willing to give it another try. Clearly, Avianca is dysfunctional, and we can't trust that any amount of money or time spent in Miami is going to get us to Nicaragua via this process. This is broken, and there's nothing being done to fix it, right? It's just, being pushed off. And since for Avianca, it's just now there's more seats to sell on the plane, and they have our money. So there's no incentive for them to fix this problem other than customer service, which they've kind of shot at this point. And for us, it is an outrageous expense. Every time we miss a flight, we have to spend hundreds of dollars on cars and COVID tests and hotel and wait 3 days at minimum in Miami, eat expensive, not very good Miami food, and we're just stuck in a tiny hotel room as we wait to find out the next disaster. And Dominica can't do anything but sit on the phone all the time trying to make sure we make the flight. So this is not tenable in any way whatsoever. So we have to put an end to that at any cost. I was ready to do that before we rebooked this flight. I was like, just get us to to El Salvador, because that's where Avianca could change our flight to, and we'll figure it out from there, right? Like, it's close. But Dominica didn't want to do that, and we're trying this flight, and there's a good chance that we'll actually be able to make this flight tomorrow. But if that does not work, we are going to tonight, long before we know if it works or not, we are going to book flights to San Jose, Costa Rica, and for Monday, because we still have a COVID test to get us into Nicaragua on paper. All we have to do is show up at the border, they'll let us in. So our hope is that we can get to Costa Rica Monday morning. It's like a 10:45 flight, so I think we get in at like noon because of the time change. And just a reminder, tonight is the time change, but by the time you're watching this, you'll probably have figured it out a week later. We can grab a shuttle that'll take us from San Jose to the border, and we should be within an hour or two of the tests expiring. And so hopefully they just let us over the border, and we'll just be like, well, there's time zones and stuff on the test, and it should be really close. So, and it's all paper, right? So our hope is that we can get into Nicaragua directly. But if we can't, we're in Costa Rica, right? It is a relatively low-cost location that is right around the corner from where we live, and we're able to wait there indefinitely for Nicaragua to let us in, which is really where we need to be. So it's just the best of all things. And both Paul and I independently came up with that plan. That was my plan as of yesterday. Paul said this morning, if this doesn't work, you got to get to Costa Rica. You have to end this. And we're like, yes, that's our plan. We've already looked at flights. And there's lots of flights to San Jose, of course, and they're open. You don't need any COVID test to get into Costa Rica because we're vaccinated, right? We're triple vaccinated. So we're the people they want the most. And we have a negative COVID test just for good measure, right? And lots of them. Even if one failed, if we got a false negative, we've had so many of them. We're pretty confident that between all of our vaccines and all of our tests, we're the lowest risk people you've ever seen. And we've been wearing masks the whole time because we're so scared of getting any tiny little bit of infection and not being able to get back in. So we're being crazy cautious. So that is the current status. I can't believe that is the whole status. A 10-minute update to tell you where we are at 10 o'clock. It's right on the nose, 10 o'clock in the morning, Saturday morning, the 6th of November. Wow, this is quite the Sheep Guarding Llama vlog update. I'm already dressed. I've already had a donut. The kids are getting ready right now. I'm heading up to do the update of this, charge the phone. We're getting in the car, and in this lovely, lovely Florida sun, we are heading to the Florida Keys. I will see you from there.